June 26, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. Been out for a couple of weeks plus a couple of days off on vacation, so it feels pretty good to be back. I did look, and I didn't trade during that time, but I did look at all the charts, so I marked it up, but I never created videos because I was in an area where internet was a little bit more inconsistent. So this is what the chart looked like today, and it looked like the only piece of economic data that came out was I guess the FOMC new home sales, which came out around 7 a.m., which is about right here. Didn't really move the market. Overall, the trading day looked like it was kind of range bound between about, I would say about 30 points, 30, 34 points. Most of the price action took place between 54, 55.40 and roughly 55, let's just make it easy, 55.20. So it's about 20 points of trading. There weren't too many setups that I could find, and not too many. Well, I only took one trade today and it was profitable. I'm going to go into the trades right now. I'm not exactly sure what happened in the pre-market, but there was this continuation spike up, then this large sell-off that happened. But this large sell-off took place over about 5 hours, so nothing really there for me to trade. So let's go ahead and move it like so. So on the market open, it looked like prices were just kind of trading in a range. EMA is being respected. It's a break of this yellow channel, but it started becoming range bound and it hit the bottom. So I thought there might have potentially been a triple test, but there was no clean setup. This isn't a very good signal bar. It's also an inside bar, so no trade there. This is doing a little bit better, broke down below and came back up. So maybe there's a trade there, but I felt unsure because it's only the first 2 minutes. So I just decided to leave it alone. It would have worked though. Prices started moving up, causes a fail breakout here, comes back down, and I thought I might be seeing a channel because I drew this and I saw two confirmations here. So it's actually just one touch. Two touch, three touch you could argue for, but maybe larger time frames, just two touches. Prices move up. I saw this as breaking out of this trading range. I saw this as a failed breakout, but in a failed breakout pullback, because a new high, first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long here, because this is actually one tick higher than the previous. And it came back and it created a higher low. I thought this is a possible trade. It's breaking out of the range clearly. It's creating higher lows every time. It's a decent signal bar, and there is enough room from here before you hit the highs here. But I didn't take it. Prices started moving up. So I was just kind of chopping around. I had this top of the trading range here. I saw this as an overshoot. Saw this one leg down, pull back, second leg down, and then I saw this as a first entry long, pull back, second entry long, 2 legs down after an overshoot. Now, after an overshoot, I was wondering whether the channel is actually slightly higher up here, then there would be no overshoot, but I treated it as an overshoot because it looked like it had a little bit more confirmation here. Bump, bump, an overshoot and comes back down. So my concern here was there's 2 legs down. Is it still going to break through to this other side to match this corresponding high? But it looked like it's holding pretty well. So when it came down, broke below and flashed back up, I thought this is a second possible trade because it is a third bounce confirmation. One, the count of this is a two grouped together, and three. So I'm not really thinking prices are going to break and create an overshoot here. And it gives more credence to the channel actually being higher up here. So I still had it down here, but I thought maybe there's a higher low here. Now, it's a pretty large signal bar because it's like 3.5 points or about 14 ticks. I didn't really like that unless this closed at the high, creating a very solid bullish bar, or actually ticked one tick above, then I would have felt more confident taking this trade. Nevertheless, I think there was probably a decent trade here if I was more aggressive. Prices moved up, so it looked like it would have worked. Kind of keeps floating up. It's respecting the EMA. It's respecting the top of this channel. So although I was thinking maybe it's something up here, it still fit pretty nicely where it originally had it placed. Even though there's a small overshoot here. It starts breaking down and it starts moving down on this channel. It's the first entry long. Technically a second entry long here, first entry long pullback. Second entry long, this isn't a very good signal bar. It's still within this orange down channel. So when you see this, I'm not necessarily thinking of going long. I was looking for potential higher low, but I want a higher low above the EMA. You get a higher low here, but you just came back from these two really strong pushes down because they closed the lows and then reversing, but it felt a little dicey, especially when you're looking for a confirmation and you get a confirmation higher low here. But this isn't a very encouraging signal bar, and it doesn't have very encouraging follow through. Then flashes down, kind of moves up. I drew what I think is a supporting trend line here, and I actually had this a little lower, kind of moved on me. Was bouncing and staying within this up channel, which is kind of good, but overall price action looks like it's a little flat. I saw this lower high, but I didn't really think there was a setup here. Because technically you could say there's a new low here, say first entry short, second entry short, count could reset, and you could say a first entry short, pull back, push back down, second entry short here, but I saw it more as a lower high. And I didn't really mark it, but I didn't think there was a safe trade here because it looks like it is respecting this right now. So it didn't feel compelling to me to try to take a risk on this particular trade. Flashes down, but then I do see this a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Second entry long is confirmed second entry long, and I was wondering if it's going to fail because it looks like prices are coming back down. One leg down, two pushes up, and then a second leg down. Thinking that, well, this dotted line here actually had the trading range a little lower at one point, something along the lines of the top of the range right here. So I was thinking this and down here was the trading range at the time. Later, I moved it up to here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this for now so it doesn't get confusing. And when I saw this, I saw it's first entry long, second entry long. This isn't a good signal bar for failure. But as this candle was forming, I noticed it failed to break above this guy. So it's not a continuation of first entry long, second entry long, and a continuation up. I saw it have trouble break above here, and it started staying a great deal of time here. And I was watching for it to break below this candle to have a confirmed failure. It broke below, and it started dancing around. This candle is pretty large. It's not a good signal bar, and I admit it is a little aggressive. So I actually dropped my order right at the lows of this candle. So my stop would actually be pretty much at the highs or at the one tick above. And I'm thinking there was enough momentum to push down because when I dropped in my order, the life of this candle was about to end, and it looked like it was going to close very bearish. So the 2000 tick count candle, there was already pretty close to 2000 trades being made, and it was already dancing at the lows. So I took a risk and I took a chance, and I entered and I was get a pretty decent fill, and it actually closed even lower. Then it flashed down, made me fill the order. That's what I like because I like to get out before having to deal with a potential support here because the low here also corresponds to the lows here. I just didn't want to have to push it further than that. So dropping a little bit back was, good, but it is a more of an aggressive trade. I also saw it as a break of this orange down channel, and I was thinking this orange down channel needs a test of its lows, which kind of was another reason for me to take this trade. It looks like it's coming back down and could test the lows. But ended up working out, pushes down, starts dancing. Then I saw maybe this purple channel fit at least these three touches a little bit better. The bottom, not so much, and it was an overshoot here. Plus, it looks like it's breaking out of the bottom of this larger blue trading range. Prices then started moving up, moves up at this orange up channel, pulls back, break of the orange, tested the high. I'm thinking the uptrend may have played out, coming back down, watching how it reacts to the EMA. So far, it only has a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it's a bad signal bar to go long on. Kind of consolidates and it starts pushing up. So now I'm thinking there could be one leg up, one attempt down, pushback, kind of a second attempt down. It failed. And now there could be a second larger leg going up. So this blue line is my first leg up, pullback, and then potentially a second measured move all the way to the top. So I was watching for that. Prices move up. Now, this, I marked this because I saw this as a potential trap because before, earlier in real time, this actually closed as a red candle. But when I reloaded the data and came back and started to make this video later in the evening, it turned out to be a green candle. But in real time, this closed as a red candle, and I was thinking this is a potential trap because you technically have a new low here. You have a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. The thing that I was thinking was a trap is because people might be seeing a potential measured move has completed, closed very bearish red, although it shows green right now, enough room to the EMA. With this kind of momentum, there's a chance that it could push down at least 4 points, 4 to 5 points for a quick scalp. But I wasn't too keen on that yet because I wasn't sure. Yes, there's enough room to come back down. It did make the measured move just barely, but I decided to leave it alone. Looks like it's exactly that. It would have trapped you. If you put it one tick below, maybe in 2 ticks, you would have gotten picked up. Reversed, you technically wouldn't have gotten stopped out here yet. Then here, you definitely would have gotten stopped out. So I saw it as a trap. There's something about this setup. It looked like it was going to work, but I just didn't think that much of it. I didn't like the setup as much because it's second entry short above the EMA. Granted, the measured move was made, but you'd be playing off the strength of your analysis that the measured move was made and prices would respect it, as opposed to a semi mediocre setup for a second entry short, because second entry short is more congestion here. So you could actually glaze this over and see this actually as just one big move up, discounting this first entry short. So it just wasn't the cleanest setup. Prices then continue moving up. It moves all the way up to here. Now I still had my trading range down here, but I didn't really drag it up here. Now I was looking for a failed breakout potential here. First entry long, second entry long. This isn't a good signal bar. It's getting congested. I just don't like this kind of price action. It's getting congested and it's in a trading range with not clean candles because it's like spindly. Their kind of bodies are at the center. To exit here, this is about 3 points. So even scalping for a point when the candle themselves are really large, it's really challenging because it could reverse on you, or you have to sit through this chop. Well, potential fail breakout pushes back up. Again, it just gets choppy. This is just kind of like a sit on your hands type of area. You have a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. Now I saw this failure. I didn't really quite like it. It doesn't look that well. In real time, it also kind of hits at the top of this trading range. So yes, prices could be moving back down, but it's spent a lot of time outside. So I don't know if this is going to be a support. So it just had some conflicting things that I couldn't reconcile. So I decided to just sit on my hands. Prices then continue moving down, breaks out of this yellow down channel. I'm looking for another attempt down. So it's one attempt down, pull back. This could have been the second attempt down, but then you just get a lot of congestion here. Doji, you get a lower high, but this lower high just didn't look that good. It's like an almost trade because it confirms the second entry short, first entry short, pull back, second entry short, push up, lower high. You could trust that maybe it's the high of this range, but the range itself is looking a little iffy with this long dwell time out here. So I considered it an almost trade because EMA is rejecting prices down. Now, what I would have thought to make it a better trade was I do like to push up by one tick and then flush down, but as you can see, it failed to break below the double bottom here. It needed to either break below the double bottom by at least one tick, or this candle had to close at the very low to give me confidence there's bearish momentum to continue, because you could tell right before it closed, or not right before it closed, but it pushed down, and before this candle closed, bulls were able to push it back up 2 points. So that gives me pause. It looked like it would just barely work. It's arguable to say whether you would have gotten out or not. Actually, I suppose you would have gotten, let's see, 55, 31, 25. Yeah, you would have gotten out with just enough, but it doesn't feel like a clean setup. Prices then move up, comes back down, bounces around, it consolidates in this area. It just doesn't look that inviting because it's just very spindly. You do have second entries in here, but nothing particularly clean. There's not even really a really strong channel to trust. It just looks noisy. Then prices kind of consolidate, moves left and right. But at this point in time, I was thinking this trading range, top of the trading range, isn't seeming very valid. I dragged it up to here. But even then, up here didn't really seem very valid either. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this for now. Prices are just chopping, kind of pushes up, nothing particularly clean. You have a first entry long pullback, You technically have a second entry long here, but this is also on this yellow down channel. It's an overshoot. Creates another overshoot here. Now there's a failed second entry long about to form. It's a new high. First entry long pullback. Second entry long failure. Second entry long failure. There's an overshoot here. Created a matching overshoot here. You also think that the down channel of this yellow wants to test its low. You have a nice EMA rejection, except, again, I don't like the signal bar here. It closed with too much wick on this side. So it just felt like it's a little iffy, and I just need a stronger signal bar close. Then prices kind of chopped around, now starts reversing back up. It's just noisy here, nothing I particularly like. There's a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. You don't, so you have a second entry short here, but this isn't a very convincing second entry short, because this is a bad signal bar to go short on. It's above the EMA. This follow-up candle to confirm second entry short doesn't look that enticing. You don't think failed second entry short because these candles are just not very, there's just too much wick on each side, which is up, consolidates here. It's already getting pretty close to the last 10 minutes, and then it just kind of pushes into the close. And you can't really trade this because this happens in the last 4 minutes, which gets very dicey. And then it just kind of, in the after hours, just gets a little bit funky. So kind of how I saw the charts today. I was happy I got one trade after kind of a little bit of a long hiatus. And just with that one trade, I was actually pretty happy, not trying to push it and be too ambitious, especially on a day where the volume wasn't that high. So hopefully that was helpful.